A lot of people just like, I want an iced latte, and it's just like, that's very hard to do because you understand that latte is just foam milk. The only way to get foam in milk is if you heat it up. You can't have heated milk in a cold drink. So it's just like, okay, you have no idea what you want.
Really?
Exactly.
I never thought of that.
No one does. Right.
On today's episode, I have with me a good old friend from the Air Force, and he owns a coffee truck. So introduce yourself, man.
All right, so I'm Mike Elliott, and I own Coffee Breaks Coffee. We are a mobile coffee van, and we go where people are needed. You know, it's essentially the gap in the middle, right? Everything else can be delivered except coffee.
Right.
So why not be that?
Yeah, so you bring it to the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what are we drinking here? Because you requested a special drink today.
Absolutely. We got RC's kombucha.
Yes, we do. This is actually some homebrew kombucha. It's way better than the store-bought stuff. And you've had it before. You know that.
Absolutely.
So let's have a glass of that.
Can't turn that down.
I think this is a blueberry kombucha.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's like champagne. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting that.
That's the whole experience.
That is the experience, I guess. That's what makes it what it is.
All right.
Let's have a glass.
All right. RC's going to be proud of that.
He will be proud of that. I'm going to have to wipe that up in a minute.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you can smell that. Mm-hmm. That kombucha has a vinegary flavor or smell to it. Yeah, I might grab a couple paper towels real quick. One sec.
Right, look at the foam on that.
All right, here we go. Man, that stuff is like straight champagne. And you know what's funny is his name is Champagne.
Sure enough. Richard Champagne.
So why kombucha?
It's just good for you. You know, soda's too sweet. You know, it ends up drying out my mouth, and you know, at the same time, you know, why not give a toast to old, you know, RC and
yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, for people that don't know out there, my partner in crime, call him Mr. White. He calls me Jesse Pinkman. He brews kombucha for a living. Well, not for a living necessarily, but he does brew it. And that's what we're drinking today. I think this is blueberry pomegranate. And you actually, oh shit, you got the mother in there.
I see.
You're going to have to get that out at some point.
Drink around it.
Drink around it, yeah. So yeah, probiotic drink, good for the gut. Cheers.
Yeah, that's good
Real
stuff.
Bubbly. That's good stuff,
Oh,
yeah. That is so much better than the store-bought stuff, you know?
Got to give it a chance. You know, people won't do that.
People are afraid to drink that stuff because they know there's a bunch of bacteria in there that's good for the gut.
Well, they hear bacteria, and that goes against what they're conditioned to know, right?
That's true, yeah. Were you a kombucha drinker for a while, or did you just get on that train?
No, actually, a year or two ago, one of my friends, she came from Florida to go to my graduation, and that was all she was drinking. And we went to a farmer's market and actually found somebody selling like these huge gallons of kombucha, and she was just like, you should try it. And of course, upon trying it, you're just like, the hell am I drinking?
Yeah.
Right? So after the initial, like, okay, let me try it again. Let me just see if it just gets on me. It's just like, all right, it's good for you. And after she went through the whole, you know, spiel of educational stuff, all right.
Right.
Yeah, and then it grows on you. So.
Yeah, it was difficult for me to get my mind wrapped around it at first because you hear the word bacteria growing up in school and you're like, ugh. That's one of those words that means bad things when you're a kid, you know?
Absolutely.
But there's millions of gut bacteria in your gut, and this is supposed to be good for it, and this is very, very tasty. It's almost like a sparkling wine or something, you know?
That I can agree to that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Not as good as coffee, though, for me.
Well, what kind of coffee do you like?
Honestly, I just drink it straight black most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that's not the best way to drink it, and I do enjoy different kinds better. I'm a latte guy, I would say, if I had to choose something fancy. But straight black is how I normally drink it just because there's nothing to it. There's no calories. You just brew it, you know.
Everybody has a preference. I I like to get my more of my opinions from coffee drinkers, right? The straight black people, because they're telling you what the bean tastes like. People who are telling you, okay, I like lattes and frappuccinos and all this other stuff. That's a lot. It's watered down with milk, pretty much. So you're not getting that bean flavor. You're not getting the real taste of what you're brewing. So when it comes to their opinion, it's just like, yeah, I don't really know if you know what you're talking about.
Right,
you
right.
know? So when people are just like, I drink it black, it's like, cool, I want your opinion. Can you tell me what this tastes like?
Yeah, well, that's good to know. I mean, I didn't expect somebody that makes coffee to say that. I do enjoy it black, though, and that's a good point you made there, because most of the time I'm trying to find the best beans, the smoothest roast, something that goes down nice when it's just straight black, you know?
Yeah. That always is. That's pretty much when people come up to me and they're just like, well, what do you recommend? It's hard to recommend something because I don't know your taste buds. I don't know your palate. And I have to sit there and ask them, how do you normally drink your coffee? Just straight out the coffee pot. And they're just like, well, I normally add this and some creamer. It's just okay. I can get a feel for what your usual, what your typical, what you would like.
Yeah.
But people are just like, I want it black. They straight to the point.
They know their shit.
Yep. I want it black. Don't even add this. You know, give it to me like this. Cool. You ain't got to tell me twice. You know, just straight out.
Yeah. So you have a lot of people that come up and ask your opinion, like, what do you think I should get?
Yeah, when they absolutely just don't know. And then I try to educate them on what actually they're drinking. Because a lot of people just like, I want an iced latte. And it's just like, that's very hard to do because you understand that latte is just foam milk. The only way to get foam in milk is if you heat it up. You can't have heated milk in a cold drink. So it's just like, okay, you have no idea what you're wanting.
Really?
Exactly.
I never thought of that.
No one does. Right. So once you educate them on, all right, this is what you're asking for. Do you really want that? And they're just like, no, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, you've been going about it wrong for a while. But most people just don't care. So when they ask my opinion, I just flip it and it's just like, you know, what do you like? Are you real sugary? Do you really like the taste of coffee? Or is it
because a lot of them probably just like the flavorings in it, right? They go to Starbucks and they say, oh, I want a caramel frappe, cinnamon, whatever the hell it is.
Of course. You know, it's all sugar. You know,
that's all sugar, yeah.
That's what they're asking for.
It looks like one of the names that would be on a Pop-Tart label, you know?
The closer you can get to that is actually the better it sells.
Yeah.
Really. It's all branding, advertisement. That's all it is. But, yeah, most people are, I want as much sugar as you can give me, and they will gladly pay for it.
Well, that's America for you, I guess. All conditioned to consume as much sugar as we can, as long as it's not fat.
Of course. There's you know, this bad imagery of fat.
Right.
Once again, there's good fat, like there's good bacteria. So
there is, yeah.
You know, once again, we're preconditioned one way, and apparently we never found our way out the box.
I mean, a Pepsi doesn't have any bacteria in it, but it's not as good for you as kombucha, I can tell you that right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what made you start a coffee truck? What gave you the motivation to say you wanted to do that?
Funny that comes up, but as I don't drink coffee. I'm not an everyday wake up, I need to have coffee person.
Really?
That is absolutely true. Right.
So you own a coffee truck, but you don't drink coffee yourself?
I own a coffee truck, don't drink coffee myself. And that sounds absolutely hypocritical in every sense of it. But once again, you know what comfortable is, right?
Right.
Are these seats comfortable?
I'd say they're not bad.
All right. Are your jeans comfortable?
If I buy the new stretchy ones.
Did you make any of them?
No.
But you know what comfortable is.
I do. I think I do at least.
So that's the thing, right? I can taste coffee and be like, okay, this is good to me. This is good, but I don't have to necessarily drink it every day.
So you wouldn't consider yourself a coffee drinker?
No.
Really?
Yeah. It's just not something I need to have. It's a luxury to me. It's something that's like, you know, if I want it, I can have it, but it's not something I'm just like, my day has to start. I've met some people like that. It's just like, I do nothing without coffee first. But that wasn't my thing.
You just like to get them hooked.
Well, I didn't get them hooked. They were already hooked when they started, right? That's where the genius of all this comes from. When you ask, you know, how did I get into the coffee game and what it was trying to find a market that there was, you know, a lane missing, and how can I create that lane? And talking to one of my friends, she owned a business, and that was, you know, I would encourage anybody to talk to anybody who has a business just to, you know, see what it's like to be an entrepreneur. But her whole thing was solving problems. So I was like, okay, so where is there a problem out in the world? And at the time I was living in Winfield, Kansas. For people who don't know where that is, you know, just south of Wichita, but there's no Starbucks there.
Yeah.
Right. So, but there is a coffee shop that's way closer to the college, and all the businesses are on Main Street. So you got Main Street, and then you have this coffee shop that's way in the back. So everybody who has to go to work is trying to go way down this block, right, towards the college to get coffee, and then come all the way to work. And I was like, that ain't,
That's a lane.
That is a lane, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, all right, so these people get to, they get to work, and they're just like, well, they got to drink, break room coffee. Well, if they want to break room coffee, they would have went just straight to work, right?
Very true.
So now the question is how do I get specialty coffee to them and not piss their boss off? Because once again, my thinking at the time is, is your boss gonna be pissed off at you that you come in 15 minutes late with Starbucks saying that you had to have it, or you walk in on time and say, hey, I'm gonna go out front and go hit this coffee truck.
True. Yeah.
So
definitely more likely to let you go out there and buy a coffee if you're there already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once again, just trying to problem solve. So I seen that, and then it was just, okay, that's doing it. And nobody else is in. There's people in the lane, but there's not as many people as you would think. And then there's also GE and Rubbermaid. And there was a couple plants out there that work 12-hour shifts and don't really have the ability to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, it's,
So yeah, that's another little market there, is people that can't leave work and they still need coffee.
Yep.
And they don't want that black burnt shit at the bottom of the pot at work.
Absolutely. Same thing works with nurses, right? They work 12-hour shifts, nurses, doctors, and especially on the overnight. That was one of my things that I had to research, is just due diligence. Go through with it. And I was looking at it, I was like, you know what? They do work 12 hours. And my girlfriend, she happens to be a nurse, and then she was telling me how she'd have to go in at 7, but she gets in early just to get some coffee. And I'm just like, it still don't last till whatever in your
12-hour shift, you're going to need multiple coffee breaks.
Exactly. And then, sometime during the night, their in-store or in-hospital cafe closes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me you can't get coffee until about 5 o'clock in the morning after this thing closed at maybe 9 or 10. All right, cool. There's the lane.
Yeah.
Let me go fill it.
So you came at it at that approach.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't a coffee fanatic that said, I want to give coffee to the world. You were a guy that was like, I'm going to find something that is a need out there that isn't being filled.
Mm-hmm.
You were looking at it from an entrepreneurial, whatever.
Absolutely. Most of the things that we have in this world came from there just being a problem and someone just having to solve it.
Yeah.
This pandemic was a perfect example, right? A lot of people, with the mandates that, you can't leave, so forth and so on, who stepped up? Everybody delivery.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt, right? But if you didn't have delivery, you just died.
It's all go to the customer now. A lot of things are.
And then you got to look at how people are willing to pay for the convenience of it as well.
Right.
Right. So the delivery fees aren't cheap, but people still are willing to pay it. So the money isn't the object, it's the convenience, but they enjoy it.
Well, especially in the coffee world, if you're already looking at that and doing your research, you got to know that people will wait in a drive-through at Starbucks for 15 minutes every morning just to get their coffee.
Absolutely.
And they don't care what they're paying.
Nope.
You could make coffee at home for way cheaper than you can buy it at some place like Starbucks, and people still would rather pay that $5 and wait in line for it.
Well, that's already, in their plan. 9 times out of 10, most people who get coffee, they start out with a coffee at home,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're just like, okay, by the time I do everything, I probably should be at work or whatever. But
Yeah.
somewhere mid through it, they're just like, there's Starbucks right there. Let me just go ahead and stop.
Yeah.
But, they also know that if coffee at work was ever a good option, then they would just have that cup of coffee at home, right? Get to work, get their coffee at work, and then they'd be satisfied. But obviously that isn't the mindset. So to put yourself in the mindset of, all right, if I drank coffee like that, where would I want my coffee to be? So I go where I would want the coffee to be. So I'm officially solving my own problem.
Right.
I don't even have a problem, but I'm solving a problem.
You don't have the problem because you're not a coffee drinker.
Exactly. But I had to put myself in the mindset of, all right, this is what I would want.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how people respond to things that I would want. Right? We're all human.
So you were searching for that though. You were looking for that mindset. You were looking for something out there that was an inconvenience that you could, potentially jump into and fill that inconvenience and make it convenient.
Absolutely.
And that's how you got to the coffee world.
That is how I got there. There's a lot of things that I could have considered, but coffee just jumped out at me. It's like, I don't have to do any selling because it markets itself. People are already hooked. Right?
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything other than let, the big brands already do what they do. Right? Everybody knows Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's singing. So why am I sitting here going to compete with them? I let them do all the heavy lifting. Right? If they're coming out with a new Shamrock drink or whatever the case is, I don't have to advertise. I just need to have.
You just need to have it.
Exactly.
Because people probably see those advertisements from Starbucks and they go, "Hey, do you have a Shamrock latte of your own?"
Yeah.
So when you do that, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to get the truck and do all that. Did you have to do a lot of research and learn the coffee world?
Absolutely.
Learn all the lingo?
Absolutely. Everything. The great thing about it is that it can be learned. If you put in enough effort in anything, it can be learned.
Mm-hmm.
So with enough research and enough, passion, just drive, it's all right. And you learn, you just be amazed at the things you learned. It's, coffee is an art. It is a legit art and science. And that can be night and day against your the cup of coffee.
Did you think it was an art before you got into this?
No. I thought it was a process.
Yeah.
It's just something like, okay, go over there, turn the machine on, do X, Y, Z. And then once you start understanding, like, every single thing has to align in order to get the cup that people desire. It's like, holy crap, it's hard. It's hard.
Dude, you are pleasing a lot of baristas out there. If anybody ever listens to this that works at a coffee place, they're like, fuck yeah.
I mean,
this guy's on my side.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they get enough praise for, understanding. It's just like, man, you ever bowl?
Yeah.
You know why PGA bowlers are, the greatest in the world?
Why?
Because they can go up there and do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, right? It is the exact same setup, the exact same throw, exact same spin, everything in the exact same manner.
Yeah, they perfected that motion.
Point exactly, right? The coffee has to be the same way so you can get the same great cup of coffee every single time.
You got to make it great first, though, and then you have to repeat.
Yes, but, that takes time and practice. You have to go and, you're going to have to just trial and error. You're going to have to go through a couple gallons of milk, couple bags of beans. That was my whole thing. It's just like, oh, this is crap. And then just having that standard for yourself. So for me, it was, all right, I got a bag of beans and I got 4 gallons of milk. I'm about to just fuck it up.
Yeah.
Burnt lots of coffee. What sounds right? What's supposed to sound right? What smells right? What is too dark? What is, oh crap, this is too long, this is too short, this is, about what I'm looking for. And then you want to stress that, add people to that. It's
so you look at those hipster guys that work at Starbucks, they have a ponytail and a hipster beard. You look at them like a totally different person now, right? They're an artist to you.
Well, no, not necessarily, because you got to look at how they go about that process. Starbucks has made their way of consistent coffee through the machine, right? So you almost have to do nothing about coffee or how to
work at a place like that.
Yeah, only because it's all right. You load the hopper, you press this, you froth for a couple seconds, and then this is how it should come out, right? Well, that's pretty simple enough, right?
Right.
But in my world, you're talking about the espresso machine where it's just, okay, we have a separate grinder, right? What if your calibration is off? Then it's too fine or too coarse. That means your coffee's going to come out, too strong or not strong enough. It might run over.
So the coarseness of the grind determines how strong the coffee actually becomes?
No, that's going to be with the bean, but it's going to tell you, it's going to give you either it's going to be really weak or it's going to be really strong. Depends on what you expect, right? So once you grind the coffee, you have to pack it in the portafilter. If you don't do it correctly, right, it's going to run, the hot water is going to run through it. It's going to make it watery. You're going to have this really watered down coffee that no one's going to like. So then it's just like, okay, you have to make sure that's right. But the temperature can affect the calibration of the grind.
Are you talking about espresso or just straight drip brew coffee?
Oh, this is espresso. This is what I kind of specialize in.
Okay, so you specialize more in like, most of your customers aren't just coming for a cup of black coffee from a drip machine.
No,
they're coming for custom, espresso.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They prefer. They know what they're. When they come to me, they know what they're getting.
Yeah.
They know it's not the drip coffee. They know that when I say it's going to be $2-3, then they're just like, okay, I expect good espresso coffee for $2-3, as opposed to, if you see it come from the coffee pot, it's just like no one's gonna pay more than $1 for that.
No, because they know they can do that at home.
Point exactly.
Yeah. So you offer all the flavors and varieties that you see. Were you studying people like Starbucks?
Absolutely. You got to study competition.
Yeah.
But that local people down the block, just anybody who sold coffee, just what do they have? What don't I have? All right. Is it a real need? It's why stumble and fumble like everybody else did? They're out there and they're established for a reason. So I'm going to just go and I'm going to scoop up all your mistakes, right? You made a proven process already. Cool. Let me check out that process, see what didn't work, stay away from what didn't work, understand why it didn't work though, right? And then it's just okay. And then put my own twist on it. So now I have a good business with my own twist on it.
Yeah.
Without going through all the mishaps that everybody else did. The best thing you can do is find somebody who's been in your business, your industry, and learn from them. Why should I go in, it's not a one-man group. It's not a one-man game.
You don't have to start from scratch and learn as you go. There's already people out there doing similar stuff.
Yeah, copycat is never a bad game. You just have to copy the right cat.
And you got to perfect it.
Yeah, that comes along, right?
Oh.
That comes, you know what lane you want to operate in.
Yeah.
Right, so you're this podcast is yours.
Yeah.
Right, but you know what lane you operate in.
Right.
Now you can check out Joe Rogan's. You can check out, Breakfast Club. You can check out all these other podcasts, but it's still yours. You got to know what questions you're going to ask. If it's going to be controversial, is it going to be, timid? Is it going to be more whatever lane you choose to pick? But then you put your own twist on it, right? So we got our drinks.
This might be controversial to some people that are coffee snobs out there.
It might be.
Right. But I'm coming at this podcast as an average Joe that really doesn't know much about coffee other than I like it.
And once again, I think that, there's a lot of people who won't admit it, but they're not really coffee drinkers. They just want it because everybody else does it.
Yeah. You get customers that just want the sugary shit, like we said.
Absolutely. They're just, how much sugar can I get?
Yeah.
And I've come at it like, you know what? Who am I to sit over, I'm not going to sit, this is bad for you. No. You came to me because like I said, it sells itself. I don't have to sell. Yeah. I'm actually proud in the fact that I don't have to convince you whether you want coffee. You know whether you want it when you see it. So when you come up to me, it's just, what do I have?
Yeah. I mean, you made it easier for yourself for sure. I mean, you've thought this all out, I can tell. You know what you're doing. You found something that sells itself, basically. You just got to be there to do it. You got to be the guy that delivers it.
That's it. Right?
Yeah.
That's how we, ended up a lot of, how do we get the remote control? Somebody just didn't want to get up and turn TV, right?
True.
Simple as that.
True.
Someone found it's like, you know what? Fuck that.
Yeah. Fuck that. I'm pushing a button.
What exactly, right?
I'm not getting my ass up.
And then here we go. And then everything like that just evolves like that. It's just, if you can find the convenience, if you can make society lazier, there will be pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And just walking out to the parking lot at work versus having to drive to the nearest Starbucks already, yeah. You're finding a lane there.
That's it.
So when you decided to make this decision, you had to probably start looking at places that sold the right beans you wanted or the right flavors you wanted. How did you go about that?
Well, we went with a couple things. So we went with local roasteries in town.
Mm-hmm. So you wanted it to be kind of local?
Yeah, definitely. I think that supporting, local businesses is just a good move.
Yeah.
Not only am I, helping your business grow, but, when they get the reflection, it's okay, stay within town. Small people, small business help other businesses. Walmart's made their money. But this guy who spent the time and he did the research, he knows why things are doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a connection, I have a network. And it's just, once you get inside that network, you just might be overwhelmed with just the amount of cohesiveness that you just meet with people.
Yeah.
They want to see you do well, and it's not it actually contradicts what you think. You think you're in competition with everybody, and all of a sudden it becomes this group. It's just like, yeah, we want to see you succeed too.
So it's more of like a support group.
Yeah.
When you're using all local people.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see everybody succeed because you're using each other. You're leaning on each other a little bit.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with there's no hate in that. There's no envy. There's no jealousy. It's just like, yeah, go over there, see those guys. They're great guys. They sell this. If I can't take care of you, they will.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, nothing's more appreciative than somebody who's willing to look out for you, even though it's not in their best interest.
Right.
Right. So that was one of the things that I liked. Once again, I would partner with anybody. It's like, hey, if you got some cookies you want to sell or something like that, I'll sell you cookies. I have no problem doing that.
So you're open to kind of do anything, really.
Pretty much just helping people grow their business, because I know that I would want the same.
Yeah.
If someone could be like, hey, if you could, I've had people come to me and say, hey, can you do this event with me? And they didn't have to do it. But it's just like, okay, I get that exposure now. It's just like, you may have to give out free coffee. And I'm just like, I'm fine with that. Just the fact that I'm around this different group of people who don't know, that's my exposure, right? I'm going to get more in that than a little bit of money that I was going to make. It's not always about the money.
That's a big part of it, right? Getting your face out there and letting people see you. If they see your truck out and about, then they can say, hey, I thought I saw a coffee truck at this event, and then they can look you up. And social media is a huge part of it now too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just be available. That is the key. But answering the question, yeah. Local shop. So we went to the Spice Merchant, and most people in Kansas know what the Spice Merchant is.
Oh yeah.
So went there, found a guy. I believe his name is Bob, but Bob's a good dude. He's been there for a while. Knows his stuff in and out. Local roaster, so you can go there and just get his beans. And then from there, it was all right. Trying to get this, how you say it? We were trying to just do the pricing right, because at one point it was retail. It was just retail sales, and it gets kind of costly.
Yeah.
Trying to do everything at retail. So it's okay. How can we get a supplier distributor kind of deal going, and if that works? Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, yeah, okay. So we tried it, but let's try out some other people. So you shop around. And you
shop around, yeah.
Yeah, you find which one you like best. Which one?
That's the free market. I mean, you gotta shop around and find what works for you.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I said, just trying to keep that local vibe.
Yeah.
And
I like that. I'm a huge fan of that stuff. I love shopping local. That's a big deal to me, because it's always bad when you see people like Starbucks just monopolizing the entire coffee industry. Mm-hmm. Doesn't give anybody else a shot at it. Pays their employees minimum wage or whatever it is.
I actually, it's crazy because I love it, right? Because you can see their process, and then you can kind of see where like my whole mindset is putting myself in the shoes of one of those workers. There has to be some disparity. There has to be a problem there. Right, something about that they don't like.
Yeah.
All right, let me fix that. So while you may work for, Starbucks, I might recruit you to come work for me. Now the idea is, if you really do like being a barista and serving, this whole coffee truck is the idea that it's yours. Go and act as if it was yours. This is your business. Take that same pride.
You take it where you want to.
Yeah, but take the same pride with it. Take the understanding that this isn't just a paycheck. This is a career. And a lot of people get into Starbucks, and it can be a career. But, when they think about it, it's just like, oh, man, how do I start? Here you go. Here's this business. I can show you everything you need to go from how it started to how it, and once again, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not making a whole bunch of money.
You're in it, though, and it's important for people to hear this, I think.
It starts with research and taking the leap. It's not always, sunshine. Right.
Taking the leap is the biggest part, right?
Absolutely.
Just doing it. I mean, everybody has these ideas and these dreams they want to do, but actually just getting in there and doing it. And, there's never going to be a right time.
Never.
Ever.
Never.
People always have that in the back of their mind where they're like, when I reach this milestone, then I'll do it. When I turn 25, I'll start building my coffee truck. When I get this, and it's just, it never works.
No.
There's never going to be a magical day where you're like, yes, I'm ready to do it.
I figured out the perfect remedy to that.
What's that?
Just do it, right? Before I really thought about it. I went and I was like, okay, I'm putting all this time and research into it, right? But research is free, other than your time.
Nowadays, yeah.
It's free. So I was just like, you know what? If I'm gonna be serious about this, let me go ahead and spend $6,000 on this machine, right? Now, once you're invested, I'm $6,000 invested. I can't stop now, right? So once
on a coffee machine?
Yeah, I got the machine, I got the grinder, I got all the stuff with it. I'm just like, okay, I got the
You're
machine.
Jumping in.
Exactly. I'm in, right? I dove headfirst into this lake. I don't know how deep it goes, but I forced myself into that. Well, there's the perfect time, and there's this, and there's that. I was like, I need a truck, right? The moment I found a truck that I like, I got to go get it. And it was like, well, you could find it. I was hearing that, you can find a better truck. There'll be one closer. I had to go to Oklahoma to go get this truck. I was like, I have no means to get to Oklahoma other than myself, and I need someone to drive the truck. But you become very, what is it, crafty? Better word for that. But anyway,
you just start getting real motivated after you jump in a little bit.
You're invested. I mean,
you're invested.
If money is the motivation, but once you spend it, you're just like, what am I gonna do with a coffee machine? I'm gonna leave it at the house. Just make. I don't even drink coffee like that, so it has to do work. It has to.
So just starting like that forces you.
Exactly.
Forces you to keep going.
Exactly.
Because you're like, well, I already spent the money on that coffee machine. Now I can't stop.
I have that. I have the knowledge, right? So then it's just the work. Just put in the work. That's the easy part
people don't want to do, though. People get intimidated by that.
To me, that's the easy part, right? The hard part is sitting down and actually trying to research something that you may or may not even care about, right? You may or may not have a passion about that, but you're willing to just you're at first you're just like, okay, let me see about this. All right, let me look at this.
Yeah.
All right, and then you come along. It's just like, okay, it's interesting, and then you actually come down to it. And it's just like, I don't know if I actually like that.
So you get the truck. What kind of a truck is it?
It's a Ford Transit Connect XLT.
So it's a van, basically?
It's pretty much a van. It's meant to hold, like, I want to say 4 or 6 people, something like that. But the seats were already taken out. It was already removed.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And then you built this coffee bar, like, in the back of it or on the side of it, or what?
It was this, I would just call it apparatus, but it's more of a cabinetry, right? So I actually found a guy who used to work at this place called House of Cabinets. And that's essentially what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a piece of cabinet, right? I need just a little
with like a countertop on it.
Yeah, a low counter, right?
Okay.
Couple drawers, right? And then Formica in the back, right? That's it. That's all I'm looking for. And it's woodwork, right? So
yeah.
It doesn't even have to be something that somebody has to do professionally. It just could be a hobby, right? But found a guy, and it's just like, that's exactly what I needed. It didn't have to be all elaborate. It didn't have to be all that, right? There was a lumber home store right down the street. I was like,
it just needed to work.
I just needed to work.
Yeah.
And the great part about it was let him be as creative as he wanted to be, because most carpenters are creative, and they just see it and they're just, okay, how are we supposed to do this and this and this? And I did the research too. It's just like, okay, here's some reference points, right? Here's some things that I've seen that I like. There's some things that I don't want, right? Cool. But a lot of it was my research, because it wouldn't have worked had I not done it. Because I have to, okay, I got to carry milk and something. I need a fridge. All right, now I got to find a fridge that actually fits in this thing. Yeah. Right, and this cabinet thing, it is freaking.
And it probably just snowballs into this thing where you're like, I never knew I was going to have all of these extra things, right?
No. From that, you talk about that. You talk about what's required of the state, all your regulations. You got to dive in all of this stuff.
And there's stuff coming at you left and right that you weren't expecting, probably.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. It's just like, man, I got to report this to that. Oh, crap. Oh, the whole thing was trying to get them to understand, like, all right, there's a weight requirement on your truck before you have to, be DOT and all this other. Like, I'm over here, like, freaking out. Am I going to meet this weight size? That's why your truck can't be too big, because of the weight. And it's just, okay, I plan to put it on this. How heavy is my espresso machine? How heavy is my fridge? How heavy am I going to be loaded down with the water, with all this other stuff? That makes a difference, because it's just, okay, you're out of regulations, or you just bumped yourself into this new class, and now you got to pay this, or you can't operate this, that, and the third.
So those are just hoops you're jumping through. You had no idea was going to be part of it.
Nope. It's just, as you go just further down the rabbit hole, it's just like, all right, so I have to be aware of this. At the same time, I need this. So how can I mix that? And it's just all creative ability.
So what would you say the hardest part of this whole experience has been for you? Starting up a mobile coffee truck.
The hardest thing?
Is it the paperwork part of it with the state? Or
no, that's simple. That's very simple. They tell you exactly what to do, and people are very friendly.
And you said the work part is easy, so it's not that. So what is it? Is it just doing it?
I guess it's just kind of putting it all together to make it work, right? It's, what you need individually. Now it's all, how the hell do I put this thing in this magical contraption and make it. You see the vision. Like I seen the truck.
You can see it in your head probably from the moment you came up with this idea.
Yeah, it's theory, right?
Yeah,
that's the crazy part. Like things are supposed to work in theory, and then in application it doesn't really work too well. But then you kind of see the process through, and you're like, holy crap, this thing actually works in application. It isn't just something that you can read in a book. It's freaking amazing.
Isn't it a good feeling when you finally see it in operation? Or when you did for the first time?
Absolutely, because once again, it was theory. It was just like, no, there's no way that this is gonna work, right?
Yeah.
Although I've done everything and it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
Maybe just I don't know. Maybe it was one of those scapegoats thing where it's just like, maybe if it doesn't work, then I tried. It didn't have to work, but I tried, but it worked, and I'm just like, oh crap, now I'm in
this. There's no stopping this now.
Oh, and once again, I had never ever thought that I would be satisfied at serving coffee. I never, you look at your passions and
look
stuff
back at your younger self, and if you could tell your younger self that, like, serving coffee, especially for a guy that doesn't drink coffee.
Well, exactly, it just doesn't make any sense, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. It's just like, how is this satisfying? But it's just the conversation with the connection with the people, everything. That's just like, man, I really like helping people, and but through a cup of coffee, that's also a strange thing, because once again, you never understand the impact you have over somebody when they just take that first sip and they're just like, yeah, this is gonna make my day. It's just like, well, glad to start it off as best I can.
It's really the experience of a lifetime, honestly. I'm sure it will be for you forever. You're gonna look back at this and be glad you did it.
Absolutely. There's
just doing something and creating something from an idea that you had. There's something very, very, very special about that. Yeah.
Look at what you built, man. It's kind of one of those things. It's start as an idea. Where do I do this at? In the basement, in the room.
It's kind of the same thing as you, because what do I do anyways? I drink in a bar and talk to people. I'm gonna build a bar. This is basically me building a bar here that I can sit and drink at and talk to people.
Well, exactly. You've seen the lane, right?
Yeah, there was a lane, but my thing was I already do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I might as well just bring it here and do it. I might as well put a microphone and a camera on me, and because I think that these conversations that you're having right now are super, super valuable. People need to hear this. There's people out there that want to do things like you're doing and just don't know how or when to begin. Yeah. Like, was it overwhelming when you first thought of this and started getting into it, thinking about where do I start?
Yeah.
How do I even start?
Yeah. Once again, it's not a coffee drinker. Know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Right. Where do you start? Do you start, researching coffee? Do you start drinking coffee all of a sudden, trying to figure out what it tastes? What do you acquire first? This, that, and the third. It seems it is, but you can't let your mind take you out of where you want to go, right? Because it's easy just to talk yourself out of anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked myself into it, and then, like I said, I just started buying the things. Then I can't talk myself out of it because it's tangible. It's there. I'm already invested.
Yeah.
And once I was there, it's all right. Let's go. Let's keep the ball rolling. And
so if you were to give somebody some advice that was thinking about doing something similar, maybe a food truck, maybe a coffee, maybe the same thing, is that the most important part of doing it, is just doing it, just jumping in?
With some pretext to it, find somebody who's doing it first. Absolutely, just go in there and pick their brain for everything they have, right? What does your typical day look like? Is that what you're built for? Because entrepreneurship is not easy. It's not an easy route, right? We go to work, and work is hard. This is 2 times as hard because you're everything, right?
Yeah.
Where I am, I'm everything, and what I'm learning is that I don't need to be everything. In order for the company to grow, I need to do what I do best, right? Maybe that's find events, maybe that's this, but I can't worry about the books, right? I can do the books, but how much time am I wasting doing the books as opposed to finding another event, talking and networking to people? What I do best.
Yeah. So that's what you do best, is networking with people?
Yeah.
Talking to people?
Yeah. Just like we're doing now. It's, finding those opportunities, and it's just like, hey, yeah, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Cool. Then I can kind of pick your brain. Just, okay, what do you think about this? What would be more convenient to you? And then implement those ideas. Once I get to that understanding, that mindset, then it's just, okay, I found a problem. Let me solve that problem. That's where I do best. That's what I'm best at. But I can't spend all my time sitting over there. Well, let me save $50 doing the books. Let me save,
just doing the paperwork side of a business, looking at your inventory and seeing how much you need to. You had to do all that though when you started.
Yeah.
You had to look at how much it's going to cost to purchase all of the goods, how much it's going to cost individually, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, know your business, right? But don't stay there, right? You have to know, because you have, when you look at everything, you're just like, okay, this looks right. Because, of course, if you don't, somebody's taking something out of somewhere and you have no idea, right? You don't want to be that fool, right? You create the system. Know the system. So that's essentially where you start. I know how this system works. Now you have to take yourself out the system. That's what the system is made for, right? So I don't see.
Let the system run on its own.
That's what
and do what you do best as a business owner or a coffee truck owner.
That's the ultimate goal, right? So many people start a business and they're the owner operator. Cool. And they actually never get to the point of being the owner because they never made a plan to step back, right? They're just always the operator, right? So I'm looking at it from the standpoint, it's just like, the idea was to be an owner operator and figure out this system, let the system work. Take myself out and actually be an owner and reap the benefits of being an owner, right? You can still take care of your people. You can still stand in. You can still do that, but that's not your primary thing. Your primary thing is to make sure that you can expand the business, grow the business, right?
And ultimately, let the business work for you.
That's what we get into it for, right? Eventually have a system that works without us, right? You know the system, but it works without you. Too many people are still in the system. It's just like, you built the system 5-6 years ago. Why can't you step back? Well, they need me, and then your system isn't working properly.
Yeah.
So find out how the system works without you.
So maybe it's worth investing even more into that then, if you want to find a way to let the show run on its own.
Well, when you have to understand what's your motivation. Money isn't the motivation, right, for me. It's just impacting people. Right, if I had an employee, I want to pay them well. I want to make sure that when they wake up, they're just not like, oh crap, man, I gotta go do, because they're probably not going to serve the best. If they don't serve the best, then what do people think of my coffee? Right? I take so much pride in it, but I'm hiring somebody who's not happy, and they're not happy because of anything else going on in their life. They're just not happy about the work that they're doing.
You want employees that are happy and basically building their own thing.
Exactly. And I always think about this in my head. If I actually had to, let's say this business scales and I can actually have people, I want to pay them well.
Yeah.
So money isn't an object to them, because when money isn't an object, people are, it's not something that they dread. Because that's what I dread. It's just like going, oh man, I gotta go to work today, man. I don't even want to go.
Yeah.
Why don't you want to go? It's just like, it just ain't worth it to me. Ain't nothing.
It's nothing that's feels that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Really, it doesn't bring you the joy that things you do for fun bring you.
Exactly. And it's just like, well, what could I be doing better with my time? So there goes that resentment, right? It's like, what else can I be doing? All right. But if you're going there, it's just like, okay, I do this, but I enjoy it for the people. So it's not about the money. So once the money's out of the picture for employees alike, then it's just like, okay, we're going in here, we're trying to have fun, right? I'm solely in it for the customer. I want to see a reaction. I want to make sure.
Yeah, that was one of my questions for you is what's your ultimate goal?
Yeah, absolutely. It's people.
People.
Yeah, money's going to come.
You want happy customers and you want happy employees.
Yeah.
And you want something to basically make a living for you.
Yeah, the money's going to come as a result of one of those three, right? You got happy customers, they're going to keep coming back. You got happy employees, you don't have to worry about high turnover. You got a system that works and it's function off those things. Customer first, product first, that stuff first. Money's always going to be the result.
That's brilliant, man.
Right. Your concept would be the same thing, right? You come in here, you have your interviewee, right? Make them feel comfortable, have them talking.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Loosen up with some kombucha. Have you always been like this, where you try to solve the problem and you just want to fill those gaps in the world out there to make people happier?
Actually, I wasn't.
You weren't?
Wasn't. How I came up, it wasn't. That's not something that ever dawned on me. I never thought that individual people own businesses. I honestly believe that there was McDonald's, Staples.
There were just places that people went and worked.
Yeah, that was it. Corporations were corporations. There wasn't really people behind it. There was no little mom and pop shop. I didn't know that, and then I was introduced to that idea, and they was just like, holy crap, you can own your own. And I was content at that point of being a worker, because it's just like, this is the easiest thing in the world, right? Show up, clock in, get my money and go.
Yeah.
Right? No responsibility.
Yeah. And a lot of people like that life.
And that's
nothing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. But looking at that, it's okay. So I have an option. So what's the other side? What's the other option? All right, you can own it. You got to take more responsibility. You take more risk, but the payout is more. And at some point, I got tired of hearing, "You do a good job. You do a great job." "Oh, I do such a great job, and pay me more."
Yeah.
"Oh, we can't." "What do you mean we can't? I just did great work. What do you mean?"
Yeah.
"Oh, well, there's other things." "Okay, so I'm solely dependent on you. That's too much for me." Right? I don't like that because I do such great work, but upper management says, "Yeah, we got to cut people back and all this other stuff."
So you were never a fan of that?
Not a fan.
That corporate world?
Nope. I thought that was like, you see it on TV, you're just like, I want that 9 to 5, I want that office job, I want that. And then you actually get there and you're just like, holy crap, how do people do this for 20 years?
Yeah.
And
40 years.
Man.
20 is lucky in the military. But 40, I mean, if you're out in the civilian world, 40, that's not unusual.
No. And people are happy to do it.
Yeah.
And, that's the crazy thing that I had at one point aspired to do that.
Yeah.
Right? It was just like, that's what I'm supposed to do. And then, like I said, when the tables flipped, when the mindset flipped, it was just like, nah.
So it just clicked one day, and there was a turning point for you from then on out, where you looked at things differently. People that own their own businesses, people can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
You can do literally whatever you want.
Yeah. And then you start valuing your own time, right? It's just like, you know what? They get to move and operate on their own time. Now, granted, right, this doesn't happen without putting in the work first. So there was years that they put down, they put in the hard work.
For sure.
And then we see the fruits of their labor afterwards, where it's just like, oh, they're living this stress-free life. They're living on these vacations and going on these trips and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Never just look at the tip of the iceberg. Just, you got to encompass the whole body of work. And I'm looking at it, it's just like, man, I'm putting in the best years of my life for somebody else, only to, on the back end, just be like, yeah, you get a little piece of the pie. It's like, nah, man, I'm hungry. I want the whole pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me put in the best work in my best years and let me reap the benefits.
Yep.
But also let me have the decision to do so. Don't be afraid to fail, but fail forward.
Mm-hmm.
We're also preconditioned to that.
That failure is end all, be all.
Yeah, once you fail, you're just like, oh man, I should give up. And it's just like, nah, because when you fail, you never start back at zero.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this whole coffee thing, if it doesn't work, I'm not at zero.
No, definitely not.
That's the thing. I can find what I failed at, tweak it, get back in the game.
Well, just the experiences that you've had. I mean, it's changed you as a person. You've grown as a person probably. And that right there is enough. I mean, what you're saying right now to people, if they listen to this and hear this, this could be enough for somebody to go out and do their own thing or get motivated to do their own thing. I mean, the show goes on. Mm-hmm. You played a piece of it, and now you have advice you can give to other people, even if nothing works out.
Yeah.
Or maybe it'll be super successful. I mean, and you're really reaping the benefits, and you're still giving out advice, and people can still look at you. And, you're one of those people that have done it, and people really, really respect that.
Yeah. Results speak. I'm not about, talking, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody can talk. And I've heard some nice stories about people, and of course you probably heard the same, where it's just like, I went out slaying 5 men, in the same breath, turned around, saved the orphanage, and came back and was home in time for dinner, and everything was good. It's just that's a great story, but show me something, right? So when I sit there and tell people like, you can do it, you don't have to have I didn't have a whole bunch of money, right? I actually built the business as I was working. I just had all right, this is what it's going to cost, all right. And at the same time, still have my safety net. I'm not telling everybody to go out there and just spend your life savings on your business, right? It's do it strategically, right? So I had some money in the bank. Cool, I can spend this much. Still feel comfortable here, just in case something were to happen. So, I'm not putting it out there just go and take the dive. Take the dive, but, take a parachute.
For sure, man. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
No, definitely, do it. But do it strategically.
Yeah.
So after, once these things started switching, and it's just like click, 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 click. And then now all I want to do is sit over there and pick the next man. Like, how'd you get into this? What was your mindset?
Yeah.
Was it the same thing as mine? How did we get here?
Yeah.
and then you just be amazed at how people got into the lane that they got into. Much like mine, it's just I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
So
that's basically, you just described exactly basically the whole concept of this podcast. I wanted this to be an opportunity for people to explain how they got in their positions and how they ended up where they were. Just the average person too, you know. It doesn't have to be anything special, anything crazy, but there's people out there that are looking at people, and they don't really necessarily even have the skills you do to go network and talk. They're probably not very social, but if they can listen to something and hear, you know, how did Mike Elliott end up with a huge ass coffee truck with hundreds of employees that drives all over the place, you know?
But you can't be afraid of those things, right? So talking is free, right? It's, oh, well, I don't want to, you know, how society's working is it's easier than ever to be, you know, in your bubble. Really easy. I don't have to talk to nobody. Everything comes to me. Cool. But I think as humans, we're social creatures, right? So even
some of us,
but even if you don't want to, like, something intrigues you, you want to say something, but it's just going out there and it's just asking a question. It's just, what do you do? Like, how did you get here?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with a different perspective, right? So you have to have that open mind. You know, we're in this very sensitive society at this present moment in time where it's just like, if you don't say something I like, then it must be bad for everybody. And it's just, no.
Yeah.
All right, you know.
We need to get over that, you know.
How do we get over that? That's the question.
That's too long of a conversation that I don't really want to get into. But I do think it's interesting that you think that that's one of the most important parts of your success is and would you say that that's probably one of the most important things is to just get out there and talk to people that have done it?
Yeah. That is 100% just the thing, because they'll give you all the motivation you need to start, and the fact that they're so accessible, right? So I'm not looking at Jeff Bezos or no Gary Vee or Tony Robbins. I'm not looking at those guys, because I can't just call those guys up and just like, hey, let me just pick your brain.
Yeah.
You can go to somebody down the street and it's just like, this is yours. How did you start? You
Right.
know, what did it entail? You know, what can I look forward to? What were some of the pitfalls and down? And they'll give you the play-by-play, because they're not going to sit over there and really I haven't met anybody that was just like, yeah, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, no one does that. So it's just like, I get to pick your ear anytime. Anytime I got a question, I'll just come in the store. Hey, when this happened, what did you do?
Mm-hmm.
If this were to happen, what do you think is the best?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, I'm proud to just have somebody ask me that question.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if they've created something cool that they're super proud of. They want the world to know how they did that.
Well, exactly, just like we're doing here.
Yeah.
Right. And I like the fact that you give people the ability to sit over there and talk about things that change their lives, but also giving the people, like I said, everybody thinks that this is a gambling competition. It's crazy, right? There's hundreds of podcasts. You could listen about anything.
Right.
But you could go to somebody else who runs their own podcast, and they're just like, so how do you prep for an interview?
Yes.
Right? And they'll give you their process.
Yep.
But why would they do that if they're in competition with you?
Because they're proud of it. I mean, listen, either you failed and you want the world to know why you failed, because nobody really wants to take personal responsibility. It's not because of themselves, but maybe it's a process that they didn't follow correctly, or they did it wrong. They want everybody to know that, or they succeeded and they want everybody to know how great their process was and what worked for them and what didn't, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you said, most people aren't going to sit there and say, I don't want to talk about that.
So
Most people are more than happy to say exactly how they got into it, what they did. That's exactly what we're doing right now.
yeah, everybody has a story to tell, and everybody, surprisingly, it sounds crazy. Everybody wants to tell their secrets, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to tell their secrets. They just want somebody who's willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, you know, we get these celebrities, and it's just like, oh my God, this, you know, their words are so motivational and encouraging. It's just like, not really. They're just doing, you know, they've always had this story.
Yeah.
Everybody has this story.
Yeah.
You just find their story, you know.
Their story's blown up by the media, and it's in your face all the time. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, but it's also, they can't help it though. It's their success, right? So you run a successful podcast, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, well, you know, his story doesn't. No, you have a story to tell. You want to tell it,
Right.
but you know, now everybody just sees the results of it. They see the money, they see everything else, and it's just, oh my God, he must be different. You're no different than anybody.
No.
You know, and that's where I'm kind of just like one of those people. It's just like, I see a celebrity, and it's just like, I'm not awed over them. They're
No.
a person, right? Their jobs happen to put them in a spotlight, right? They get paid more money, but ultimately, like, they're still working. Like, you have to look at that perspective. Like, man, what why? Right? Some people do.
Yeah, that's weird. People always say, why wouldn't they just quit? You're already a multimillionaire or whatever it is, but they keep on working.
That is, I've come to learn, like, that's the thing, right? So if you made, let's say, $1 billion doing this,
Yeah,
would you continue doing it?
I think so.
Now, why would you keep doing it?
Just because it's something that I really do enjoy. That's why I made it in the first place. I know this isn't going to be a successful business for me. Maybe it will. But this is something that I do in my own free time because I just like doing it, and I always wanted to do it. And that's really all it is.
Right.
If it becomes something great, then I'll be super happy about it. But this is different in the sense that this isn't a business move that I made because I found a lane for it. I mean, maybe I did find a lane for something, but I want it to be successful. But this is something I just like doing. I really do. And I want people to hear people like you talking.
Yeah. But we keep the mindset that, if we do it, we're going to do the best we can at it, and whatever
100%.
comes of it, comes of it. So, not to say that if you're successful right now, right? You have to look at your journey, right? The fact that you have this from an idea. Remember where it started.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to appreciate everything that it comes. Now where it goes, we don't know. Right. The best thing you can do is just put in 100%.
Yeah. Just keep doing it.
And do your best.
Yep.
And then the results will speak for itself. But you get the satisfaction of just doing it.
You have a really, really, really unique and very cool perspective on the world. And I think that's an awesome thing, man. You look at things differently. That's for sure.
I think that's how.
But it's for the better. I mean, most people don't think like that. And hopefully if you do become a super successful multi-billionaire, you have the same mindset you do now because you sound like you could really make some huge differences out there.
I call this concept selfless, right?
Selfishly selfless.
Yeah. So everything I'm doing is ultimately for me, right? So I built this company not for everybody else, but for me.
Right.
But at the same time, when it grows, when it expands, I want to give someone an opportunity to understand, like, hey, this could be yours, right? Hell, it is yours. Live this better life, right? Have options. I don't believe we're here just to work and die. I don't believe that. That is to my core. I don't like that concept.
Yeah. Most people don't, I don't think. They're content with it, though.
And, why? Why?
I don't know. Maybe their minds will be changed after they hear you.
I can only hope, right?
Yeah.
We live in like we were talking about, we live in an age where information is free, right? And the more information that you gather, the more you can see it's just like, hey, I don't have to play this game. I like the fact that, I can go work for somebody if I choose to. That's fine. But at the same time, I'm not solely relying on them either. Should anything go wrong, it's just like, hey, I know, there's a lot of talk, right? We care about you, Jesse. We want what's in your best interest. But in the same
bullshit.
But in the same breath, they can turn around and be like, you know what? This relationship, it just ain't working. And then you're left with, well, what am I supposed to do? And then they're just like, that's your problem.
Most jobs, man, if you die, they're going to have you replaced in a couple weeks.
Point exactly. And how do you pass that on to somebody else? How do you give somebody else the information, all the things that you've learned? Right? What did you ultimately, like, once again, I believe that a lot of this, how you hooked this up, was this come from the knowledge that you gained from the job?
Yeah.
Right. And then if you didn't know, did you have other people that you could call and kind of lean on?
That was most of it, yeah. Most of it was other people.
Point exactly, right? So you went to work to learn one thing. You ultimately turned that around, right? Everybody that you now know are assets.
For sure.
Right?
Yep.
Cool. So you turn these assets into this. This is the result of it.
Right.
So the networking did you great.
It's huge.
Right? That's something we talked about. It's just like, oh yeah, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's very important because to build it, right? Everybody believes this is a one-man team. This isn't tennis, right?
No.
You need a team.
No,
right?
it's far, far, far from a one-man team.
No. Why don't the Chiefs just have one head coach, or why don't they just have one coach on the coaching staff, just a head coach? No.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No, you got defense.
I mean, they have Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, that helps. that guy helps, but
he does help.
Ultimately, it's like you got a strength coach, you got a nutrition coach, you have defense coordinator, special teams,
Yeah.
you have equipment managers, and even equipment people under these people. You have the GM, you have all these people. if it was so easy to do all these things with one man, why would they have teams?
No, you have to have it, or it doesn't work right.
Point exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So
You can't. It's not a one-man show. It rarely ever is a one-man show.
stop being stingy and make it a team. Right. Just go out and figure out who's your team. Build your team. The best team is going to make you very happy and very successful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm always striving to try to comes right back to networking. Right. You find people. It's just like, oh man, that mind, the things that this person can do.
Right.
They may not see it themselves. You might have to do a little motivational work and put that self-esteem back in them. It's just like, man, you don't see enough, right? You're capable of doing it. We just have to find some way to get you to express that.
Yeah, for sure. That's super important, man. People need to know that. I mean, do you have any last advice? We're about an hour in right now.
Oh, well.
Yeah. It's been great, man. This has been fucking awesome, seriously.
Yeah, you don't even know.
You've opened my eyes to a lot of stuff that I normally don't think about. You're almost like a philosopher,
I wouldn't go there.
Almost.
I just see, how we can all be better. Like I said, it's a selfless type of thing.
Yeah.
Because like I said, everything that I want to give you, I hope that you give to somebody else. But ultimately, it starts with how I want to be treated, right? How I want things to be done. And then I just put myself in your place.
Hey, I respect the hell out of that, man. Right. You've got a great perspective on the world. You really do.
I try, man.
I hope you keep doing well, and I wish you the best with everything going forward in your life, especially with your coffee business.
Appreciate that.
You just want to tell everybody what your coffee business is real quick and where they can find you and all that?
Well, the coffee business is Coffee Breaks. So if you want to look on Facebook, it'll be coffee_breaks. Breaks as in BRAKES, not BREAKS.
I really like that name, by the way, too. That's a cool jingle.
Yeah. Play on words.
It is. It's great. It's perfect.
Once again, research, man. Research.
Yeah.
Make it, but put my own twist on it. So that's that. Instagram, it'll be the same thing, coffee_breaks. And then, coffeebreaks19@gmail.com. That's the email. If you have any events that you would like us to attend, who doesn't like
Shoot
coffee?
you a message? Yeah. Let's drink some coffee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's super simple, super easy. Red truck. And you'll just know when you see it.
Right on, man. Hey, thanks for coming on today, Mike. I appreciate you, brother. Cheers.
Mm-hmm.